Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Infinifactory. You knew I was going to say that, didn't you? Yep, welcome back, and as always, if you've been enjoying these videos, show some love, leave a like down below. As always, thank you for your support on these videos. Let's jump into it, let's do some puzzles. That's what you came here to see. It still wants us to go back and do that one. We can do the life support system, the space boy I don't know how to say that, or resistance shuttles. We're going to try these in order. So life support system it is, and this is what we have in front of us right. Oh wow. I'm glad I decided to look out that window because that is an amazing looking planet out there. Very cool. Alright, so somewhere around here we'll have a little station to talk to. Oh, and we've got 3 different things to take items from at the moment and to build one of those. Looks fascinating. Let's hear what Ortis has to say about it.
Maruvo kid is fascinated by you soft-skinned meatbags, no offense, but doesn't care about me, last of my sort, lone wanderer Ortis, nobly traveling the stars, building things for you. I don't like it.
Okay, so here's my thoughts. What we've got to do is destroy these 2 blocks on each side as we take this thing out of here. Let's start placing some blocks down already. So that's going to come out here somewhere, and then we've got to destroy the blocks on either side. Now that's going to be done with eviscerators because we can't destroy the ones in the middle or the ones at the bottom, although lasers don't fire downwards. So we'll be using eviscerators in this, and I think it's going to be something along the lines of having a pusher with an eviscerator on it, and that has not been set up correctly, but we're just using this as a visual sort of exercise. So this will have to come into place, and then these will have to push in from either side. Now there's 4 sides to do in total, so obviously we couldn't move that thing directly through these if they were sort of on this axis as well as that one as they'll be. So I think it's a case of maybe you go through, you get those things pushed in from either side, then you rotate and it happens again. Now the rotation part is the tricky bit. That's going to be very difficult to suss out, but if we could pull that off, we could have a little contraption here to do that. It comes through, gets the blocks knocked off of either side, rotates, does it again. That might involve the counter block that we've unlocked recently to count, you know, both times that it's been spun, and then send it out into the middle. So this bit over here I think is going to be a lot easier. Those things are 3, or is it just 2 blocks high actually? They're sort of 2 and a bit, but as you can see here, those ones have that top bit on them. Right, and these are full cylinders as these ones are here. So although they're curved at the top, that's just part of that block. So these are only 2 high, and the thing here is that they give you, how many blocks is that? Sometimes it's a little hard to see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I don't know how many of those we're actually going to get compared to what we need to use. I imagine they're probably not going to make it too difficult. It's going to be a case of just slicing off the top 2, which we'll probably do with lasers, and taking the bottom half and attaching them to these. So they'll probably come around, get attached, go across the middle. Over here we'll meet up with that thing and send it in. Now as always with this game, it seems so simple and straightforward, and I honestly feel though like that bit, joining those together is going to be easy. Maybe dropping them into place and welding it all will also be a tough challenge. But the first tough and obvious challenge is doing this bit over here. So this is what we're going to start with. So timing is going to be a big deal with this one. As you can see, it destroys both blocks, which isn't good. And I had this set up a moment ago so that this thing would stop when the sensor was there, and that just left this turned on permanently. So they would stay sort of in the lock. Now I just had another idea, which is to, let's say, put one of these here and change it to a downwards type, and we detect when the block has been destroyed or something along those lines. Not sure how that's going to work. We're going to have 1, then 2 go over. If it stops in the right position, then this will destroy. So let's hook that up to this, and yes, it's going to be a real jumble for a while and see how that does. So that still drops down. That's good. 1, 2, and then it stops because the block has been destroyed. Well, that's actually really good. That's a very cool technique right there. We could wire this up to something on the other side as well. So then these will be retracted. If we can rotate it in the same little space, which I really think is going to be tricky, then this thing might count again, which would be a stroke of fortune. Well, this is proving to be very tough because I've tried rotating the blocks in this space, not going to happen. I've tried having like a conveyor here to move it along, pull it in and out of position. That's not working. Trying a blocker as well, didn't really expect it to work. Also, I sort of tried that without having that there, so technically it wasn't doing its job, and that hasn't made a difference, has it? Now maybe what we actually need is like a second counter. So this one only needs, well, when a block there arrives there, it only counts once. So that wouldn't really be helpful. I'm not actually sure. Maybe if we had a counter on this side that counted all three go across, and that one hooks up to this, as well as the other one, then maybe we create a big enough pulse, but then it's just going to push it off to the side, which pushes it into the eviscerators. So at the moment it feels like everything is just saying this isn't the way. I'm starting to wonder though if by putting them on either side we're making a mistake, and actually what we should be doing is something a little bit different. Okay, it feels like a back to square one right here. I tried this with the blocker a moment ago, and it actually kind of works. You get that extra pulse thanks to this bit, so both of those are hooked up to where that was. Also tried it this way around as well, so now we push that underneath. Same thing, it does work, but it doesn't work with the timing of the eviscerators. So timing just seems to be like the big issue here, and maybe there's an alternative way to do this, but now I think we need to look at something quite different. Maybe something that involves just pushing them in and out of eviscerators, like one by one, and then rotate and do it again, but who knows how it's going to work. Okay, what initially seemed like a good idea, I sort of felt like, you know, this is going to take like a lot of vertical space. Maybe vertical space is good. Now this isn't going to do exactly what we want it to. Right, let's play it at normal speed. It's going to drop in, get detected, and bam. Now at this point what we can do is remove a block from below, and that's going to let this thing fall down. And then when it falls out of range of the sensor, it's going to, well, the eviscerators will retract for the next one to come through, but it wouldn't have destroyed anything else. Plus we can add one on the other side over here. So now what I'm thinking is let's build this thing and drop it through like that. Then it's not going to be a headache. It should work. I mean, it looks like it would work just fine. Might have an issue actually with the block that retracts to let it fall down, but then if we just place some blocks that are fixed on the opposite side, when it tries to push out again, it should run into some difficulty, so it should let the thing drop down. Hopefully that made sense. So here's what we're going to do. Actually, that might not be the right place to put it, because it will get caught underneath that, won't it? Yes. Okay, so we have that thing there. Then that goes up to this height. It's good that it lines up with that, because it helps us work with this a little better. So that was the middle. Then we're going to bring it along, so we'll change that type. And how far it needs to go, I'm not sure. Probably going to need enough space to drop it all the way down here. By the way, these are floating, so they can drop onto there. Otherwise, they'd be attached to them, and that wouldn't be able to extend. We might run into a similar issue here. If we want to keep it up there, we need to have more of these down below. So that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, we need to sort of look at how much space this is going to use in total. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not going to fit inside that space. If you look at where this is, when it's up here, I mean, there's enough space to drop it down and have these things sort of push over, but then to go all the way down below, it's not going to happen. So we need to use this space right here, but we need to be a little higher up. Okay, bit of a poor experiment, but it still does what I want to show you. Look at that, these blocks are attached together, so this block will push both of them across. I didn't know that, and that makes me think, what else can be attached to that? Also, I've rotated it. Can we have a row of blocks coming out here? Can they include sensors, conduits, rotators, and those things? Yeah, apparently they can. And that's going to happen. I mean, I don't think I'm clever enough for this, but some people out there will be able to do amazing things with that, believe me. There's all kinds of things you can do when you don't connect things together and drop them on top of each other. Like, imagine a conveyor like this, having another one from above drop down on it. You know, it'll get sent all the way over to where this one's going, and you could use that with some sort of timing to interact with something else. There's probably a lot more you can do with these when you combine them together like that. So anyway, that was just a temporary experiment. At the moment, what I'm sort of doing is sussing out where this is going to go. So it's going to come across at that height, and already may have run into a little bit of a problem. Actually, no, because we're going to be able to keep this thing up here, as long as we have these down below. So we don't need a conveyor belt that drops on top of this, which saves us a little bit of space. So we could potentially put this thing even further back, but down here we've got that in the way as well. Just want to be careful, really. Okay, this may just work right now, because this thing right here, when it pushes off, I do believe the entire contraption is below. I say contraption, that thing is below the eviscerators because of where that sensor is. So, oh no, it paused it. Let's see it in action. It goes up and across, drops down. Nice. Oh, but that didn't extend. Why did you not extend? I think actually it just retracts and then it doesn't think to extend again. In fact, it's still being detected. Wait, what happened there? Surely it was going to fall down far enough. So where did it fall to? Right, so everything there is sort of in the way and I've put that in the wrong place. So if we remove this, that, and put that there, we should be able to see it in action. Yes, and it gets pushed along. Fantastic! Alright, so on to the next step. So the timing over here is almost perfect. Let's reset this. And you'll see these ones go across and, oh, very nearly drop down right on top, which would have been amazing. We could have welded them there and moved on to the next bit. Actually, as I say that though, it might not have been that simple because we've got 4 of them and just 2 of them get pushed out. So maybe it wasn't that perfect. I should probably show you more of this because just about everything I'm trying here is failing. And I've gone through quite a few different attempts at doing things now and it's just sort of occurred to me, hey, you should record this. So I'm sort of messing around with this idea that these ones come along at just the right time, you weld them together and off they go. And a moment ago I had this sort of setup where these went round a little like delay circuit. Wow, I'm having trouble rotating these. So they go around like this, they come over here, and then they would sort of drop on top of them one at a time and get welded. But every single time, the timing between the two just messes up, and I can't seem to find a way to control that, which is kind of frustrating. So I need to come up with a new idea for this. Okay, so with more careful manipulation this time, I feel like I've got the timing a lot better, as you can see. Now what we need to do is weld those and move them along. So I'm thinking a track down the bottom here, pistons that push somewhere, which means we'd have to rearrange that sensor. It's going to be real tricky to get right, but I feel like that's possible. But then what happens after that? Like the next 2 come along, so if we can get those 2 into the correct position in time, it should be okay, but it might be difficult to rearrange these. Even with this monstrosity, I've just not got the brain to approach it correctly today, it seems, because we need to weld them together. Now where are we going to do that? If we're going to push them forward, we could do it on this side, we could have some welders here, but we can't have them on this side because then these ones won't be able to come through. So we would have them on this side. You see, I just don't know what to do. I'm a bit stumped. And I thought this was going to be the easy bit. I thought this one was tough and we done that quickly. Oh, this game is maddening. Took a step back, thought about it and sussed it out. This little block has come to the rescue right there. That solves all of our problems because when it gets welded, it then instantly moves it along. So we can have the welders in the position. We don't need extra... Oh, we're not using that thing. We don't need extra... like pistons down the bottom. Apparently we might not need this one either. So why do we not need that one now? Is it because I'm doing the delay over here? Well, you know, it works. So see you later. I guess that's a good thing. So there we go. We finally managed to do that. And now we need to think about how they're going to come over and meet this thing. Let's see. We have 4 of them ready about now. And that thing's coming into the middle. So they'll be arriving maybe a little bit late. And this will probably need to be a little bit further over to that side, but it's a case of dropping them in and then welding them. And how are we going to do that? I can't help but feel we're going to drop them in as we move them along. Maybe we drop in the one at the back first and weld it and push it, because when we drop in the other ones, they'll get nudged along because it's going in that direction, so it won't fall out. Yes, that sounds like how we'll do it. If that'll actually work or not, I don't know yet, but we'll give it a try. Okay, this isn't going good. I'm trying to rely on like timing further down the line as we sort of move the things around to sort out the timing behind. It's a sign of a bad concept, really. So let's see this going together. You can see it doesn't quite work for the one at the back. Now what I'm thinking is this thing can be dropped down lower. That's one point I want to make. Let's just speed it up and then pause it. I think what we need to be doing here is dropping them all in at the same time, which could be a case of precise timing. It could be quite difficult to do as well, but if we drop them all in at the same time, we can weld the one at the back, and I'm thinking if we get the timing just right, when that one lands in at the back and gets welded, which might be a little bit tricky. Actually, this entire time... Oh no, I've been welding the base, haven't I? I've been welding it to the base. I could also opt to weld a higher bit up from the side. No, that wouldn't work either because it would weld it on its way down. I could weld it from base to this block or from the side to that block. I don't know why we're going on that tangent now. But anyway, if we just weld the back one, then we can use like a... Well, I was going to say a detector somewhere up ahead to detect that these have fallen in. That might actually be a little bit tricky. But somewhere on the side, maybe over on this side, we detect when it's fallen into this one, and then it gets pushed forwards, which means they stay in the same space. And that, I think, is the way that we're going to do this now, because this is just not working. Ah, that's right, of course it is. Yes, of course I've made another oversight. Why would I have not made another oversight? This is a little bit too high, isn't it? Because these are taller than the one down there. Actually, no, they're the same height, but they're one block above. So it actually works really well. This is the way to go, I think. What we now need to do, though, is make something over here, which might interrupt the flow of this, so the positioning of this may be changed. Let's add ourselves a lifter. We'll put that right here. Yep, no, that'll be the place to put it. This thing is going to be 1, 2, 3 blocks tall. So we want to raise it up by 1, which means we're going to have a conveyor here. Press C to change the way. It'll go across like that, and then everything here can simply be 1 block taller. Okay, as always, it's time for our traditional, hey, I think we're done here, and then everything goes wrong. Hey, I think we're done here. Let's see everything go wrong. No, I really do think this will work this time, because I tested it up until this point here where it could get pushed along, and it worked fine. The next one along didn't interrupt with it. All of this dropped into place. The bit at the back got welded. It looks like we might run into an issue where they're rotating around together. That does look worrying, troublesome, whatever word I wanted to use there. And that's it. Look, we've got a little welder down here at the end, and it takes care of business for us. It hasn't backed up or messed up, and I think that is a challenge there solved. I did like that one. I feel like it took me a little bit too long to suss out 1 or 2 parts of that, but it's a cool machine, and there we go. So decent footprint score, and yeah, I'm happy with that. Would have been nicer to have perhaps gone a little bit further along, but you know me, I just like to solve it and enjoy that. So 1 more puzzle to go, and we get to do the final one. So there may just be like 2 episodes left of this series. I don't really feel like going back and doing that javelin one. That looked really tough. However, if these 2 are both doable, maybe we'll do both of them. But anyway, that's going to be it from me this episode. So if you enjoyed it, please do leave a like. As always, thank you for watching these videos. I hope you're enjoying it, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.